TV ganga muka ye program akanyomero hot cup at 9 onakulukutano bweruti kusawa bweziti Adam Kungu sa Simon Muyanga Lutaaya nafe tubeerawo okutwala maaso n'enteekateeka eno. A lot has happened in this week, and so we come every Friday at 9 okutema week. We give our views. I seek opinions, thoughts and ideas as Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya on a number of issues that have made headlines mu week eno era bingi ebibaddemu bye tugenda okubeera nga tutunulira. Twalabye omukulembeze wa Uganda General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni he concluded his trip, his tour mu ggwanga erya South Africa gye yabadde and a lot happened there. Wabadde olukuŋŋaana olw'ebyokusiga ensimbi. But also what was very much outstanding bye bigambo omukulembeze w'eggwanga ebyayogedde. First ng'ayogerako okuggalawo office ya human rights oba office y'eddembe ly'obuntu eri akakiiko kali ak'ensi yonna akamawanga amagatte aka United Nations. Mwami Museveni yagambye nedda there is no problem, it was long overdue. Singa kyakolebwa dda mu bigambo bye yagambye nti kibadde kiconfusinga. Already tulina Uganda Human Rights Commission and there was no need of having akakiiko oba another agency eya UN literally doing the same thing. We'll be looking into that very briefly or very shortly. Naddala mu kiseera nga eggwanga abamu ku bannabyabufuzi ne bannayuganda bakomplaininga ku kutulugunyizibwa kw'eddembe ly'obuntu, but that will be coming in. But also Mr. Museveni and the two presidents, President Museveni and President Cyril Ramaphosa, bakiriziganyiza ku nsonga nyingi okwongera okunyweza enkolagana wakati wa Uganda n'eggwanga erya South Africa that we are going to be also looking at it. Mu parliament ya Uganda twalabye alipoota eya NSSF, akakiiko ka mwine mpaka akali select committee, Speaker of Parliament Anita Mong keyateekawo nga kamaliriza okunoonyereza kwako era alipoota ne kajanjulira parliament ku mivuyo egiri mu NSSF era ne bakola recommendations eziwerako omuli n'okusaba Minister Betty Amongi owa gender abeere nga alekulira. At the same time ne bagamba nti board ya NSSF ebeere disbanded, and of course a number of other recommendations as we are going to be discussing. Era katono twalabye UPDF eggye lya Uganda nga livaayo kuparadinga omwami oli amanyiddwa nga Eric Mwesigwa. Ono yalabikako emabega kaawo nga complaininga agamba nti yawambibwa ab'ebitongole ebyokwerinda n'atulaga bands mu kifuba ng'alaga nti yayokebwa allegedly by security nevaayo n'ebisambajja ng'egamba bya bulimba era bo banoonyereza mu custody zaabwe detention facilities n'ewalala. Ono Mwesigwa teyaliyooko. But again in the turn of events Brigadier General Felix Klaije omwogezi w'eggye lya Uganda n'abakungu abalamujje twabalabye nga bamuparadinze era ng'ayogera ludikya lwennyini this time hitting abagambye okubeera banne mu kibiina kya NUP. What does this mean? I've had views z'abantu abawerako abalowooza nti bino bipange ebigendereddwamu okusiiga NUP enziro n'okugisibako amatu g'embuzi okugiriisa engo. I'll be looking at that. Parliament again yattukiza ekyokuleeta Anti-homosexuality bill. Omubaka Asumani basaalirwa Bugiri municipality yaweredde eddimu lino okubeera nga teekateeka biiru eno. These and many other stories are what we are going to be looking at with our very own Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, a man from Gadumire. Someone just told me here that he likes your views these days, that you speak your mind. In fact, omwami ono bamuyita Baliamujura. I like Simon, greetings to him. I like his views these days, and I'm excited to hear what he is going to say.
He likes my views these days, which probably means that there is a problem with my views before these days.
Some time back.
Okay, my orientation that I speak my mind. And I have had very many people argue and say, you were a journalist, then you have sides, you're opinionated. No, I am a different class of journalist because I am not a scholar. I don't only do this journalism, report this and that. No, I am above that. I'm a lecturer, I'm a media consultant, I'm a veteran here. I'm a bit polished. I'm a communications expert, first of all. I have 22 years of experience here in this industry. I should probably not be speaking like others. And I also have widely traveled and read. In the United States, media houses take positions. You know that if there is a race between the Republicans and the Democrats, the different media stations will take position, and you will know where they do. In Kenya here, we saw it recently, that the TV stations took sides. First, because these channels are businesses. The public service channels, like the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, that work only for welfare and public service without minding about profits and commercial interests, are fast disappearing. We don't have as many. So in that case, there are things that you may sometimes have to take sides for purposes of
So are you saying
society.
that sometimes you do take sides?
I do. Sometimes I take sides. For example, now.
Yet the expectation is we journalists should remain impartial. And you're probably saying you take sides sometimes.
When do you call for the impartiality?
When?
If I say now, for example, I say I support homosexuality, everybody is abusing me. The owner of the station will say, hey, what have you said? I've also I see also in shock, which means you want me to agree with that. Every Ugandans want us to all agree that media houses, church, whatever, are against homosexuality. You understand? And there when I say, tetwagala bisiyagala, bana Uganda mustuke, we fight homosexuality, nobody says I'm impartial. When does the impartiality come? When do you need it? When should a journalist be partial or impartial?
We don't expect, okay, the expectation is, while executing your duty as a journalist, you ought to remain, you shouldn't take any side.
I've just given an example that if you want me to remain impartial in the face of a controversial subject like homosexuality, I'm saying allow homosexuals space to speak freely and just talk to your children, not to be part of their
perhaps you, okay. now that takes us to a different direction. So it's like you're saying, or the suggestion should be that there are circumstances, again, maybe when a journalist may take sides, depending perhaps on the values,
if I come out and condemn thieves, that no, you Ugandans, people are stealing this and this, we condemn the thieves, I should be also speaking for it. Say, don't worry.
Leave the thieves.
Leave thieves to thrive.
No, there should be circumstances.
So these are, there is no, the issue is simply to know.
No, but I've seen people that think you take sides. Babyogera ngo commenting ze kunsonga z'ebyobufuzi. They think sometimes bwekituuka kwogera ku certain political parties, you take sides, ate nga bakusubira okuba impartial.
So therefore, a statement should be that journalists are supposed to be politically impartial. When you say impartial and it is general, in general terms, it means I should be impartial in the face of all subjects regardless, which is practically impossible. Not possible. So I love the way people must understand that I have responsibility to citizens, because the people of Gadumire, my mother and the others who paid school fees for me to study, intended to make me a polished person. And the purpose of it is talked about in the Bible. The Bible says, I gave you free, so should you give.
Okay.
The Bible says, Nabawa buwi, namwe muwenga buwa. So, if God gave me knowledge and the opportunity to understand a few things, I should give what I understand to
Thank
the
you.
others. And I like those who provoke me into debate.
You just gave us ekyokulabirako kya homosexuality. There was a very huge talk this week. We are concluding ku nsonga ya homosexuality. Parliament yabadde mu recess for about 3 weeks. Bwe bakomyewo ku Lwokubiri batandise n'okusaba Speaker wa Parliament omukyala Anita Mong n'ayogera ebigambo ebyabadde ebikaawu okukira omususa eri abazungu n'abantu bonna abawagira ebisiyaga. Nga Parliament ya Uganda, we shall not accept, era tugenda kuleeta etteeka. We are going to bring back the bill. We are going to reintroduce the anti-homosexuality bill, and I expect all the members of Parliament to support it. First of all, what do you make about debate eyatandise ne steps already taken by Parliament to reintroduce this bill?
I have, in another platform away from here, aired out my views about this law. And I have, in summary, I don't want to go back to that, but in summary, I've noted out the following things, and I want Ugandans to follow. One, that this government has a practice of presenting a law to curtail political opponents towards every general election. It is a practice. Some of the laws that have come in different election cycles to curtail political opposition include the Public Order Management Act, whose purpose was to curtail the holding of general assemblies or public assemblies that government thought were inciting the public and working very bad against the NRM. So those of you who remember POMA and what it did, you know how you have suffered with it. It came to contain the opposition towards the sudden election. Later, there was a law called the Anti-Terrorism Act, which had a clause on abetting terrorism. And Parliament, in its definition of abetting terrorism, did say that if you talk to a terrorist, if it is found that you have been in communication to anyone who is later arrested as a terrorist, you also commit an offense. The implication was that if Kungu calls me, no matter what we have discussed on phone, but it's found that I've been in communication with you, I am equally liable for prosecution to have abetted treason. Yet, I may talk to you 10 times a day, but I do not know what you do.
Yeah.
The purpose was to curtail political opposition at that time. And when they bring these laws, people are arrested and charged under it. Dr. Besigye and others were tried or were accused of these under these laws. Later, government thought to know the kind of communication between political opponents and maybe foreign forces. So they brought the Interception of Communications Act. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The purpose was that they went to Parliament and thought, I think you're playing a wrong thing completely. It is not related. Completely.
That was when the Speaker was vowing to bring this law.
They brought this law because they went to Parliament and asked that Parliament allows government to intercept our communications, telephone communications, listen through whatever we say, be able to record what we say, and present the same as evidence in court during prosecution. That they can listen to what you're saying Because before then, there was a law under our laws. Electronic evidence has always had challenges in being accepted in courts because it is electronically recorded, so it can be electronically edited. So it has had challenges. So they thought to have a law that would make this credible and acceptable evidence. For example, if it comes from a legal source that government recorded your conversation and it's brought in court, it should be accepted as evidence. The purpose was, again, to contain and curtail free speech, free assembly of the political opponents towards another election. Now, in this cycle, towards 2026 elections, government's first attempt was...
Towards 2026.
26. I'm fast forward.
Okay.
The first attempt that government wanted was to use the Computer Misuse Act that was brought by my brother, Muhammad Nsereko. The import of the law was that whatever the things we say may, at the discretion of government, be construed to computer misuse. The purpose was also to curtail free speech, because the NUP foot soldiers, the opposition forces, were all over social media trying to hit or speak things that government believes are not good for them. Are we together? So this law collapsed because Ugandans were quick and fast to know that this was ill intended. But the Computer Misuse Act was intended to contain opposition voices that if they don't have weapons, but they have mouth
to speak.
If they can't speak, they are on social media writing. What law do we bring
To curtail
to
that.
fish them from wherever they are to curtail these freedoms? I thank God that
It was quashed.
the law was quashed because it was ill-intended from the start. It was a dead law at birth, and so it was dead throughout its life. So that was the law. When that one collapsed, I am suspicious that given the circumstances and given what I've observed, that the anti-homosexuality law may be more political than moral.
Political against who?
Political in this way.
I'm wondering in which regard.
Because I follow that.
Look at this, Sir Simon, as you're coming in. If you said it was political,
It is. I said
you
want to
anticipate it could
to
be
believe.
political. But look at this. Speaker of Parliament, religious leaders, continuously basabye Parliament ne government ebeko ne kyekola okukateringa promotion of homosexuality in the country. We see the Speaker of Parliament speaking very strongly against the vice. We see the Deputy Speaker speaking again religiously and speaking tough, both within the country and out of the country, against homosexuality. We see all sections of people in the country saying, leaders, do something, take a step. And now, can I know where that thought that could be political comes from?
You'll have to take down a few notes. One, as we stand today, even before the Asmani Basali law is passed, homosexuality is criminal in Uganda.
That is true.
And if you know anyone practicing it, let me know. Even now, there are sufficient laws
Really?
to prosecute that person as of today, before the Basali law.
Practicing or promoting, which one is
Whichever
illegal
you
under
do.
the existing laws?
It is whichever you do. I mean, if it is illegal, then promoting it automatically becomes illegal as well. Becomes an offense. So under the current law regime, it is criminal in Uganda to practice homosexuality. It's part of the sex offenses provided for in the Penal Code Act. The charge is clear. Therefore, the rush for a law, the spirit for a law, the fanfare I see around it is suspect. Number two,
Just a moment. we have all the time. You will have to be a little bit patient. Producer, njakusaba otuwe akatambika Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Mong, nga yogera ku lunaku olwokubiri, saying as Parliament of Uganda, we shall not allow this to happen with impunity in this country. Let's watch this.
We do not appreciate the values of Ugandans that they are destroying. We do not appreciate their money that they are bringing to destroy our cultures. We do not need their money, we need our cultures. And on that note, therefore, as an institution of Parliament, an institution of this country that passes the laws that are in this country, tomorrow we are going to bring a bill who will bring a bill on anti-homosexuality, and I want to request the religious leaders that this time round be there to see who is who. We will not allow an aspect of saying there was an aspect of horror. Now we are going to vote by show of hands. You are either for homosexuality or you are against. We want to see the kind of leaders we have for this country.
Empanka. Kuvuga empanka, not empaka for that matter.
So you've had the Speaker of Parliament.
The Speaker of Parliament. Now, it is easy to understand. I want you to understand me. This is the spirit of my argument. Parliament is very right, absolutely right to enact a law or revise an existing law or amend an existing law on homosexuality. Parliament is 100% right. If there is need for this law, and it is what is called for. That's their role. So Parliament has no problem. Let them pass the law, because that's their duty, to enact laws.
Let's break. We come and we go into the gist of your argument. Kubaba TV, Hot Cup at 9, special every Friday. I seek Sir Simon Muyanga's views on topical issues in the week. Katunyoku mazibwe tukomao, we delve deeper into his argument. In Adam Kungu, Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, Eric Mwesigwa ne Lukia Subo. Nayenga mukanyomero kano buli lwakutaano mbane Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya nga tunulira ezimu ku nsonga ezinza okubeera nga zikola amawulire wiiki n'oba mu buli wiiki, era nga tugende mukumbulako tubadde ku nsonga ya Parliament okuttukiza ebyokuleeta etteeka erirwanyisa obuli bw'ebisiyaga mu ggwanga. And you have heard views from Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya. Someone called Rashid Alimbali agambye program emunyumira. But before I turn to Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya to make his point, again, just look at what happened in Parliament. Nga Omubaka Sumani basalirwa aweereddwa eddimu oba nga aweebwa eddimu ly'okuteekateeka biiru eno okuddamu nate okugireeta mu Parliament. Just watch this. Okay, nga bwenkuwa clip eyo bwobanga wagoberedde byadde mu Parliament, omubaka owa Bugiri Municipality Honorable Asmani basalirwa yagambye nti tetujja kukkiriza n'akamu n'aketonde omuntu yenna okubeera nga abunyisa ebikolwa ebyekisiyaga mu ggwanga. Jjukira nti the other day twalaba Deputy Speaker of Parliament bwe yali e Mozambique n'ayogera literally ebigambo bye bimu. At the same time tulaba allegations nti local council ye Kasese yali ekkiriza ebisiyaga bino genda mu maaso newala Speaker, Deputy Speaker n'avayo n'agamba that cannot be tolerated in this country. And so let's just watch what Honorable Asumani Basalirwa said ku floor ya Parliament nga bamaze omukwasa omulimu guno.
okumala entanga mabuti ensonga edda abasaada n'abasaada okwekedde baganako walalawo n'abakazi okola ebikolwa n'ebirala eby'eiko n'eddiidi ediwulikikana mu mawulire ng'ebintu bino bisinzira kweyolekerayo mu masomero. Olwaleero Paalamenti y'eiwanga emaze okuwa omubaka wa munisipaali y'e Bugiri
Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, you were making your submission as we went for the break.
Kugiyisa mu bwangu nadde ngamba nti etteeka lino engeri gye lireeteddwamu, engeri gye liwagiddwamu, speed kwe litambulira, ebigambo buli wamu, statement za poliisi, kwegamba ffenna ng'eggwanga tulaga nti ekizibu kyaffe olwaleero ekikulu number 1 kisiyaga. Kiyinza okuba kituufu oba kikyamu. Naye bwe ndaba nga bannaddiini bavuddeyo n'amaanyi mangi agatali ga bulijjo nga waddeyo ensonga ennene ze batatera kukoonako. Ng'ate sabbiiti kumpi emyezi gino ebiri gyonna mbalaba bali wa mukulu. Juzi waliwo gwe baawa emmotoka empya emukono. Wiiki eyo bonna baali wa mukulu, abava bishops ba Church of Uganda bonna bava mu Buganda baali wa mukulu. Wiiki eri ndaba Archbishop waffe Mwami Kazimba Mugalu bali very tight ne president. Nowa Mufuti nayo bali too close. Olaba nga wabaddewo president olumi lwayogera ne bannaddiini boogera okulaba nti etteeka lino liyisibwa mangu litaasa ekisiyaga. N'etteeka lino lyasazibwamu mwaka ki?
2014.
2014. Awo wonna babadde balinda ki? Etteeka lino lyasazibwamu nga likoleddwa lyasazibwamu 2014.
Nga koramu ya Parliament tewera.
Nga koramu ya Parliament tewera. Mwagala kuntegeeza nti okuva 2014
koramu ya kawera kati
paka 2023 tewabadde koramu. Era oba president ne bannaddiini baakatera nti etteeka lyasazibwamu. And if the issue was only quorum, lwaki olwamala okugira bwe tekwali kuddayo buzinga bayita Parliament quorum ngewera nga bakola ki baliyisa. Etteeka lino nze ndowooza and my thinking lyandibanga ly'eryagala okukozesebwa okukuba bannabyabufuzi abavuganya gavumenti ku nsolobotto nga tugenda mu kaluka 2026. Yes, tutya. Mubadde mulabanga buli Bobi Wine lwagenda ebweru bawereza mangu obufaananyi, simanyi baani babukola, bawereza mangu obufaananyi, agenze kusinkana basiyazi, asinkanya abasiyazi, oluusi ne badda n'ekifaananyi kye ne bakifotoshoppinga ne bateekawo n'abantu abalina ebipande bigamba ffe tuwagira bisiyazi, ffe tuli simanyi opportunities LGBT committee, okulaga nti Bobi Wine gy'agenze ebweru agenze kusinkana baki
bali babisiyazi. Amid these allegations even the funders
era mirundi egisinga nupu yebadde eva negamba nedda si kituufu propaganda w'abantu abatuvuganya nga abakikola tetubamanyi ne bagezaako kimuteekako ndowooza ne wane magita makerere kavule bw'obuulira n'ebigambo bya Pastor Bujingo naye ali ku School of Thought yagala okulaga bannayuganda nti omuntu gwe muwagira His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi musiyazi as a way of okugezaako okumuteeka wansi.
Does that mean nti basalirwa opposition? Yes. Does it mean nti basalirwa opposition agenda okuleeta ebbago lino alireeta mu butamanya nti likuba bo?
Kati kansooke mmalirize. So kyekisooka gavumenti eno Bobi Wine afuuse kizibu nti bamugana okuba ebivulu by'ennyimba wano mu Uganda n'akita takyegayirira takyakifaako. N'agezaako kukuba ebivulu ebweru nabyo era ne babiyingiramu. Bobi Wine takyakola bivulu bweru ne bamulaba tava ku nnyonyi agenda nadda n'agenda nadda akasajja kongera kaluba bukalubi tekakkakkana. Omusajja ono gwe tuggyeko buli ekireeta ensimbi ajjawo ensimbi tulinawo. So niga nkitegeeza abasiyazi be bamuwa ensimbi. So bwe tuleeta etteeka ligenda gamba bwe liti omuntu yenna akyala mu nsi erimu abasiyazi, omuntu yenna singa kizibu nti wakolaganako n'omuntu ebweru ng'omuntu oyo musiyazi, omuntu yenna singa kizibu nti ekikolwa kye wakola kiwagira abasiyazi, omuntu yenna singa kizuula ku mukutu gw'ebyempuliziganya nti wayogera ekintu ekiyinza okuba kiwagira abasiyazi, onaavunaanibwanga. kitegeeza nti bw'omala okuleeta etteeka eryo ojja gamba na Uganda nti Bobi Wine yabadde mu Canada, because it is very possible Bobi Wine okubeera e Canada mu lukiiko lwonna ku nsonga yonna abasiyazi ne bajja. It is possible because for them they are free there. Nga sirwa abasiyazi naye nga bazze mu lukiiko lw'ogenza okwetabamu ne bajja and they freely identify themselves.
Who's bring this bill?
Kiba kitegeeza nti bayinza okukozesa etteeka lyogamba nti wali n'abasiyazi ne bajja bakola ki bakukwata. This could be a holding charge for the opposition. I am saying it could be. This could be a holding charge for the opposition towards 2026 and a law aimed at checking the growing dissent.
Who is bringing this bill?
Etteeka lireetebwa Asumani Basalirwa.
Ali mu government?
Ali mu opposition. Naye gundi yakubuuza no Salaamu Musumba juzi nti address y'etteeka lya Jema yeriki lya Basalirwa. Aliresenga president wa Jema, aliresenga oludda lwa opposition lwonna nti bonna baatudde FDC ne contributingako. Okay, nti leader of opposition nti ba opposition MPs mu parliament baatuula naga nti gwe oba okipresentinga oba aliresenga ye Asumani Basalirwa.
No, but you see that argument doesn't hold.
It holds.
We all see how bills are brought in parliament. Yes. They either come from cabinet or they come from private members.
Now you have contradicted.
And in this case, it is a private member's bill.
You have contradicted yourself. Because ombuuzizza nti naye tulabanga Asumani Basalirwa wa opposition. Kitegeeza ayinza okuba wa opposition ne yeetikka ekintu ky'atamanyi nti alina gwawerekerako anaamala kutuuka n'akitegeera kubanga teyakonsultinze banne bonna. Nkubulidde etteeka Asumani
mateeka amalala aga private honorable Mwami Gashumba brother
Muyanga gonzisizza nnyo
bills endala private members bill ezijja mu parliament ababaka ba parliament basooka consultinga ku bibiina byabwe gye bava oba side gye bava nga tebannaba kugaleeta, because we also need to look at that, because I don't think this bill is a special one to the extent that you need to first consult either your party or the side you belong to in parliament.
How many other laws have been brought and the speaker first warns everyone, like she did to all members of parliament, and even drummed up the religious leaders to watch their people? Which other law? This law is a special law. The push it's being given is special. The making, the spirit, the speed, the campaign for it is a special one, which is okay morally. If it is morally okay, intended to curtail homosexuality, it is okay. But it could be beyond moral responsibility to political curtailment of opposition forces. I have said it, you need to watch the space. Lastly, there are three players in the anti-homosexuality law. Ekisiyaga nsonga ya mpisa, it's a moral question. Kitegeeza amaloboozi gembadde njagala okusinga okuwulira ge g'abantu mu nsi yaffe betulowooza nti be bavunaanyizibwa ku mpisa n'obuwangwa. Olowooza bantu ki?
Minister,
traditional leaders.
Okay, traditional leaders.
Ekikwata ku buwangwa bwaffe n'empisa. Yes. Ne mu buwangwa bwaffe nga totaddeewo tteeka obwewaffe bulamoogi. Tewali muntu akkirizibwa kusula na musajja munne oba mukazi kutakula mukazi munne.
That is true.
That's true. So abantu bebadde nsooka nga bali waggulu boogera nnyo kati be ba traditional leaders, abakulu b'ebika, ab'amasaza, bakabaka baffe n'abafaanana bwe batyo. In this picture tonnabawulira nnyo gwe mulimu gwabwe. Abaka ba parliament omulimu gwabwe kwe kuyisa etteeka okunyweza kiri bali kye baba baagala. Ntibanga abafuzi ab'ensikeno baagala kulwanyisa kintu kino naye kirina we kibasuseeko. Parliament eyisa etteeka. Kitegeeza parliament nayo ntuufu nnyo mu kuyisa etteeka. Baliyetaaga. Abantu abakyamu mu kintu kino first of all be bannaffe bannaddiini.
Bakyamu?
Abafere ganduula.
No.
Lwaki? Obukyamu bwange buli ludda wa? The church holds primarily a rehabilitative role. Rehabilitation of the spirit.
Nti Adam Sina.
Nti omusiyazi nga mukatuliki.
Abasina.
Sina. Asuubira okugenda wa father mu penitensia okwenenya nti nsonyiwa father mbadde musiyazi era father n'abimanyira eyo n'amurehabilitatinga tokiddamu genda. Now the mistake we are making nti ate bannaddiini be basinze okwogeza amaloboozi amakambwe ennyo
mulete etteeka
n'okwewerera nti ne bwe yandibaddeyo abasiyazi abaagala okukivaamu nga bagiyita mu mannaddiini okubasabira bajja kutya okugendayo. So they have left their rehabilitative role and they are fighting onslaught. Yet ogwetteeka bandisabye parliament ne bawetteeka bakalicho leaders nti bannaye munyweze ensonga zaffe ez'obuwanga abaana bafumbiriganwe bave mu bino.
True.
You understand? So the church is acting as a paid force, and I want to suspect that behind them, behind the religious leaders, is an invisible force driving them. You could even see people saying, fighting anti-homosexuality, nga nabo abaga ntulete ekiteeka ly'ebisiya ku bisiyaga nga nabo basasuddwa kuba bali bakimanyi nti abawagira ebisiyaga mbu basasula kirimu ssente nyingi nabana abakivuga bandibanga balina ssente ze bafunye okukirwanyisa because speed kwe bakolera bonna batambulira wamu boogedde statement nadde embuuza wano jjo mufuti obusiraamu mwogwa balangirira okwekalakasa okwenjawulo
era ne
mwekalakasa ku kisiyaga oyagala kunga nti ekisiyaga kyenyiro ekisinze okuluma ddiini y'obusiraamu wano nga wali omuntu gwe bali babattanga abatta enseenene Haji Sheikha Sekimpi ne bamukuba amasasi, Hassan Chiria ne bakuba amasasi, Dr. Muwaya ne bakuba amasasi, waliwo omulala ewujiri ne bakuba amasasi nti banne ng'ekitta basiraamu kisusse temwekalakaasa.
Ne waliwo pressure okusaba government enyweze ebyokwerinda ebiseera ebyo from
madam mwekalakaasa.
No.
There was even a time lwe balowozesa ensi yonna nti abasiraamu batujju nga buli gwe baba bakutte boogera mannya ga kisiraamu n'abakulisaayo abalimbi baba bakwata bawabimanya nze Rashidi, nze Ali, nze Sulaiman, nze nga temwekalakaasa kuvumirira ekyo. Ddala amaanyi mwagafunye nti mwekalakaasa ku kisiyaga. So basabale bannyabo ekisiyaga kibi, etteeka lyetaaga okirwanyisa, naye kuba speed eno kwe tutambulira erimu omukono gw'omuntu emabega eno. Etteeka eryo terijja ne balikozesa enkeera okukwata aba opposition ne muga nti tetwabalabula.
Minister of Ethics aliwa mu kino.
Minister w'okwasa empisa wamuwuliddeko?
Talina waali.
Supiika gw'owulidde. Omanyi njagala nnyo bannayuganda okukkiriza emitwe gyabwe gikole. The key actors against, because homosexuality in Uganda is a moral question today, in fact, as it were in the Bible.
Pastor Solomon Male omumanyi bulungi
tubadde ne mukulwanyisa ekisiyaga
agamba Kungu, there is no need for a new law about this, and I agree with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya.
There's no need for a new law.
Nagamba, we have enough laws to curtail homosexuality. We are actually dancing to the tunes of homosexuals who believe that provoke them to bring the law.
Very good. Very good. We have actually helped them.
In fact, through the existing laws, the following people were convicted and sentenced.
Very good.
Pastor Ronald Isabiye,
Pastor Male,
was convicted and sentenced.
Male akuwama nyaga abantu abali bavunandwa ne basingisibwa emisango mu Uganda mu teeka ly'ebisiyaga eririwo basome.
Pastor Ronald Isabiye was convicted and sentenced to 120 years for sodomizing 6 boys in Sisa Entebbe.
Omuyisa Isabiye ani?
Ronald.
Bamusalira ekibonerezo kyakusibwa emyaka.
Bamusingisa omusango ne bamuwa ekibonerezo kyakusibwa emyaka 12 lwa kusodomizinga abaana 6 Esisa Entebbe. Shabash Muhammad was sentenced to 10 years for sodomizing Kasolo.
Bonna mwe bali mu makomera ga Uganda.
Yes.
With the existing nga tebanaleta lyasumani. Genda kuddala.
Teacher Makande George was sentenced to 12 years for sodomizing a pupil. Paul Nabamba was sentenced to 30 years for sodomizing.
Only the ebibonerezo 12 years, 10 years, yes. 30 years, 120 years. Shegiza etteeka ekkakali ku kisiyaga n'olwaleero weeriri.
Amaliriza bw'ati.
Maliriza.
Laws are not the problem. The problem are the systems covering the perpetrators. Pastor Solomon Male.
Wabale nnyo Solomon Male, you have always been my friend. That's what it is. Nti etteeka ku kisiyaga erikikwata n'olwaleero buli omu akimanyi nti kikyamu, naye abasiyazi kye batukoze nti omanyi ffe mu kutunda ebintu tulina kye tuyita talkability.
Buli bw'oyogera ku kintu
kyonga bakyogerako. Jo nabadde mbuuza, I was asking my daughter ekiro, nemugamba nti kumbucha kyeki? Mpulira kumbucha muzuri sana, simanyi kumbucha, simanyi maleko. Nembuuza nti kumbucha, jiranga nti kumbucha is a drink. It is yesterday that I knew that kombucha is a drink.
But you have taken some time ng'owulira kombucha.
Nga mpulira kombucha, ndabe emmotoka ziwandiikiddwako kombucha, kati ekyandeetedde okubuuza kombucha is the too much talk about it. Now, for the first time, the homosexuals have drawn us into speaking openly about this. Whether we are speaking for or against, we are actually speaking about it. We are right into their trap. The whole world is watching that Uganda now is talking about this. Before then, they not get.
You're a teacher, right?
I am.
I was talking to one of the teachers yesterday, and I hope this won't be misinterpreted. A school owner, a teacher, he was telling me, Kungu newunyiza nnyo. Some of the students came to me. Nibagamba kakati, anti ekizibu kya kisiyaga. Mutuyambe. Ebyebisiyaga tubiveeko, mutukirize tukapolinge. What does that mean? Because the students are hearing the pomp surrounding homosexuality. Everybody's discussing it, and the students are saying, Ebisiyaga, no, it's now a no-go. Schools now are discussing homosexuality. Teachers, parents, everybody is talking homosexuality. Who?
Mwe abalala batali ffe. I am a teacher. I taught here in Kisas College, I think for 4 years. 2000.
Kisas College School?
Yes, 2007, 2008, 2009, and around there. I was teaching there. Aya ni Mchala Zerida, Madam Zerida, try to somesa divinity oba ebyeddiini paper 4. Olupapula bayita divinity paper 4 tusomesa ebintu bisatu era bwe bati bwe babisamarizinga: sex, marriage and family. Bye bintu byokka bye tusomesa. That paper mu ddiini, mu kusomesa eddiini tusomesa abantu divinity paper 1 ekwatagana ku ndagaano enkadde eya Bible. Ne tusomesa divinity paper 2 ekwatagana ku ndagaano empya eya Bible. Ne tusomesa divinity paper 4 gye tuyita religion in the contemporary world. Ensonga eyinza obutaba eziri mu mbeera y'obuntu naye nga zirina Genesis mu Bible. So tusomesa sex, marriage and family. And we define sex. What is sex? We define sex in 2 ways. The intercourse of man and woman. And we also define sex in terms of gender. You are male, I am female. But we also define sex in terms of roles. That there are things you do that I don't do.
That's gender?
As gender. So gender in terms of man, woman, and then gender in terms of roles. That Adam nebo yagala otya toyinza kuba lubuto, you cannot be pregnant. So never can tulino mwenkano, there is equality before everything. You cannot become pregnant. There is somebody who has that role of becoming pregnant because she was created with all the infrastructure
of being
to become pregnant. So tuwali tubisomesa abaana
before
mu divinity 4 tubasomesa sex offenses, abuse of sex, oba enkozesa embi ey'ebitundu byabwe ebyekyama. And we name all the sex offenses. One of them is fornication, prostitution, adultery, homosexuality, prostitution, defilement, and rape. All of these before God are sex offenses with equal weight of sin. Are we together?
Yes.
So we are now saying that after this, nange nsobola okuddayo kati okutabuka. There is a hope, Mary Stops. You know something organized called Mary Stops? Omulimu Mary Stops gwekola ogumu ku jo is to rehabilitate rape victims. And if people think nti obuliisamaanyi obw'abakazi mu Uganda butono nnyo, genda wali eddwaliro lya Mary Stops obabuuze how many cases of rape victims do they receive on a daily?
There are many.
So are we saying after the homosexuality bill, the one of Basalirwa, somebody else is going to bring another law on rape?
Not
this
rape.
drive you see on this homosexuality
Could be sponsored.
is separately sponsored, but could be a holding charge by government for its political opponents.
Part 9, Adam Kungu, Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, Doreen Mwesigwa, ne Lukia Mpoza Petubao. But in this particular segment on Friday, tubatunulira wiki nga bwe badde mbane Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya. I think my clip, or our clip, yes, Honorable Asmani Basalirwa, Member of Parliament, Webujiri, Eric said, just listen to what he said and compare it with what we have just said here with Sir Simon. Just look at it.
It is common knowledge that homosexuality has become a cancer. In this country or in this world, we talk about human rights. But it is also true that there are human wrongs. I want to submit, Right Honourable Speaker, that homosexuality is a human wrong that needs to be tackled through a piece of legislation. Right Honourable Speaker, this House had an opportunity to correct the anomaly then. That opportunity was lost and the Constitutional Court nullified the law. We now have another opportunity to follow all the procedures to have a law regulating homosexuality. Right Honourable Speaker, what we need to do, Right Honourable Speaker, is that...
Did you say you want us to regulate homosexuality? We do not want homosexuality.
No. Right Honourable Speaker, a law to prohibit homosexuality.
To prohibit, yes.
A law to prohibit homosexuality by way of regulation, obviously. Right Honourable Speaker, the law we are talking about is not new. When this country was colonized by the British, they actually left a law with us on homosexuality. In fact, the Penal Code Act that the colonizers left in this country banned homosexuality, criminalized homosexuality. What we are trying to do is to look at the present circumstances and situations where there is now recruitment, promotion, and funding. So we want to look at this colonial law and have it in tandem with the current circumstances and situations. It is on that background, Right Honourable Speaker, that I beseech colleagues to join me in ensuring that we have a new law that addresses that cancer. I beg to submit, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you.
Honorable Suman answers your question because of Adoboza. Do we need a new law? He is telling you, Penal Code Act. There is a law in the Penal Code that really, criminalizes homosexuality. But he's telling you, let's look at the present circumstances where there is promotion, funding and recruitment.
Yes, ne mu budde bw'abakoloni kyabadde ategeeza ne mu budde bw'abakoloni abazungu bwe baali batuleka nga tunafuna bwetwaze bwe baali bava wano mu 1962 abazungu baalekawo etteeka erikugira ebisiyaga naye etteeka eri ate okulirekawo si be baali bazze n'ebisiyaga
tegeeza byaliwo
ebisiyaga baabisangawo wano era mu byafaayo by'abakulembeze ba wano mulimu aboogerwako nga bamanyiddwa bulungi abamu ku bakulembeze besaagala kwatula nti baali basiyazi so etteeka lino baalirekawo okukwata abaali abasiyazi mu biseera ekyo kitegeeza ekintu ky'ekisiyaga wano kiruddewo era bannaddiini bwe bavaayo olalaga nti bannange ekisiyaga kitumazeewo kiyingidde mu masomero kituuse buli wamu babanga abagamba nti omulimu gwabwe ogw'okutubuulira enjiri tuve mu kwonoona gubalemye enjiri ya sitaani n'etambula supiidi nnene okusinga enjiri ya Katonda. It is an indictment of themselves, their own admission that indeed the satanic message has spread wider than theirs. So Mwami Basalirwa agambye nti in the present circumstances baagala etteeka lino to check funding obiwulidde bulungi
recruitment
gambye nti twagala etteeka eppya etteeka erikufuga ekisiyaga weeriri netwagala tukola etteeka erigenda okukwata ku nsonga zino essatu kati eziriwo. Ekisooka promotion, abantu abakyogerera abalaba abatumbula ekisiyaga. Number 2, abantu funding y'ekisiyaga bakisaamu ensimbi. Ekyokusatu abayingizaamu abantu. Kitegeeza ani gwe bamanya sa ensimbi mu kisiyaga era aziwaani,
with which aim and motive.
Okitegedde? Ani oyo gwe bamanyi agabe ensimbi y'ekisiyaga bayantamanga nga baziwaani. We wali bwe nakugambye nti balina endowooza nti Bobi Wine ne Nuupu ensimbi ze bafuna kubanga basobola okutambuza ekibiina nga tebalina ssente babaganya biri byonna ziva mu basiyazi. Akyogedde nti etteeka eppya lizze kwata si kulwanyisa kisiyaga awo kibwe etteeka lwanyisa ekisiyaga naye kunoonya likwate ku funding. Ani solid them names, ani gwe bamanyi ayina ensimbi zassa mu kisiyaga era wano mu Uganda ziyita zitya okutuuka kwani ne zigabwa zitya awe bagenda okuyita. Nti Muyanga Lutaaya wali Canada last week n'abasiyazi era kitegerekese nti olina ebintu by'obadde okola wakasima ebidiba by'ebyennyanja bingi nnyo. Gavumenti erowooza nti ensimbi z'osimisaamu ebidiba wazijja mu basiyazi katukukwata ogira obeera eruzira nga oba ekigo nga abasigaanya babaddeyo omwaka mulamba n'ekitundu nga abasigaanya babaddeyo nga bebanoonyereza ebyo bimala kuwononeka nga bamaze ekyabwe n'olyoka okola ki ovaayo. Gavumenti eno yavunaanako Dr. Besigye obuliisamaanyi rape ng'emisango gyonna gibusanga nti bwe bana kasita ekigenda kyali nti bwe bavunaana Besigye omusango gw'obuliisamaanyi rape amateeka ga Uganda tegamukkiriza kwesimbawo. So bwe ngamba abantu nti ekisiyaga kirelated ku kwagala okulemesa Bobi Wine n'olowooza nti njogeza busiru kitegeeza nti gwe tolowoozezza werabidde n'ensi eno gyekola ki gyeva. I want to believe that our people will wake up. We can fight homosexuality. Nobody says we should have it. We have always fought it anyway. Pastor Male Solomon Male banabaga ekisiyaga kitambudde nnyo mu masomero. Pastor Male bwe yayogeranga nti ekisiyaga kitambudde bannange kiri ne mu kkanisa. Kooti zano zamusalira ekibonerezo kyagenda kuwera ku kooti simanya era kooti yennangabo yennabwe abali olwanyisa babasaliranga misango bwe gityo ne bagenzi bakyetegeza nti abantu bakugambye basingisiddwa emisango mu kooti olw'ekintu kino. So it is real. So Asumani basalirwa yagambye nti recruitment yake promotion abo bajja kufe bannamawulire
ababyogerako.
The intention is us bannamawulire. Yes. Yakyonaga nti kati olaba waliwo abakozesa emitimbagano kati olaba ekifaananyi ky'ekkala nze waliwo kkala ze baalaga juzi langi ze mbadde simanyi badde bazitulaga ku mikutu rainbow nti olaba langi zino ziba za kisiyaga ne bazitambuza era kati buli omu akimanyi nti ezo langi bw'ozaba n'omuntu ziba za kisiyaga. Baga nti promotion kitegeeza etteeka lya terrorism nkugambye lyali ligamba nti naawe Adamu Kungu akubidde Muyanga Lutaaya essimu bwetukizola nti Muyanga Lutaaya bulijjo mutujju naawe tukukwata. So gendaga nti ababadde bakubira gundi essimu twamukutte nga musiyazi the law will also capture you, you are part of those promoting that. Ebigambo bye twogera biki byonna the law is fishing wider to include all of us.
Okay. Well, and what worries me kyekiri kyoyogedde nti n'abakitembeeta bayinza okuba nga bakitembeeta mu butamanya.
Kati njagala kubulira kansembeyo n'abakitembeeta. Abakitembeeta bayinza okuba tebakimanyi nti naye omusajja alina waatudde azimba abuuza akaana kano akampa heddekekana akaana kano kajja wa ssente naye ne bannaffe abali mu bannaddiini kino kye banoonya nakyo njagala nkikubuulire. Bannaddiini baali baakakugamba jjuuzi nti ffe twadde tukalagana n'ekkanisa y'e Bungereza naye tulekedde awo enkolagana yaffe era Archbishop waffe Archbishop Dr. Kazimba Mugalu n'ategeeza nti enkolagana ya Uganda n'ekkanisa ya Bungereza bagikutudde era mangu abo ne bagenda bakyalirako ku president era mangu ne bajja mu ecumenical conference mu parliament. Ekiddako kye bagenda ogamba parliament nti bannange kanisa zaffe tezikyasobola kutambuza mirimu olw'ensonga abazungu abali batuwa ku ssente mukimanyi twabeekutulako olw'ekisiyaga. Tusaba palamenti yawa neetondewo omutemwa ogunaatebwanga mu budget okuyamba amadiini. Oba okitegedde kubanga nawulirako argument eyo ng'oli abuuza gavumenti obanga esobola okuwa ebibiina by'obufuzi ensimbi nga gavumenti esobola okuwa Nuupu biliyoni 3 Actually, it was 3 billion, yes. Ate ffe.
Amakanisa.
Kati amakanisa gano gulaba gali mu mukago gwa Inter-Religious Council. Nga bakola mu Parliament baga nti ebina by'obufuzi mu Uganda bifuna ensimbi. Naye si byonna ebyo byokka ebiri mu Parliament. Nano bagenda nti amadiini agali mu mukago gwa Inter-Religious Council government egawengayo omutemwa. Bw'obanga osobola okuwa NOP 3 billion. Nowa FDC 1.8 billion.
Why not?
Nowa NRM 28 billion. Na amadini bagenda nti buli dini Church of Uganda 50 billion. Catholic Church these billions. Abasilamu these billions. Banoonya kubayingiza mu budget nabo babenga bafundingibwa government nga bwe funding ebina by'obufuzi.
Kale webale nnyo Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya nawe atulaba ku Baba TV Hot Cup at 9. You can follow us genda ku Facebook. We are streaming live. I see some of you are there and are commenting. Keep commenting, keep sharing that live stream. Azana kumpereza obubaka ku 0756 Well, Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, some of us have had hopes nti maybe wasobola okubeerawo enteeseganya wakati wa gavumenti ya Uganda ne ekibiina ky'ensi yonna ekya United Nations kukuzza obujja endagaano ya Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, but that seems to be far-fetched and probably the indicators are that it could be impossible. Nalabye omukulembeze wa Uganda General Yoweri Museveni bwe yabadde South Africa nakkaatiriza nti tetukyabeetaaga. Kyatandikira ku Ministry ya Foreign Affairs ne batuga nti eggwanga erya Uganda government eri committed mu ku protecting eddembe ly'obuntu. Tuyina institutions already ezimala okumonitoringa n'okulondoola bulungi eddembe ly'obuntu mu ggwanga. And so there was no need of having the office of the UN ku ddembe ly'obuntu wano mu ggwanga lya Uganda, and that's why their contract was terminated. Now just look at what the president said while in South Africa.
Superfluous. Something that is not needed because it is something else. Because we have got a Uganda National Human Rights Commission. It is in the Constitution. So now having this freelance something, it even confuses our people. They don't know where, if they have complaint, they don't know where to go. To go to this one of exotic or the other one. So please, to simplify for them, we say, please, there's only one Human Rights Commission in Uganda. This is the one in the Constitution. Others, you go and do something else. There's a lot of need for those groups in the world. They can go to Iraq, they can go to Afghanistan, they are not short of people where there are problems. Uganda is not one of them.
Uganda is not one of those countries that need their services.
I love Mr. Museveni. Wache mwagalako. Museveni bw'akeera nti agenda kuba nnyo.
Akuba ku mutwe.
Bw'aba ayagala kuba akuba nnyo. Ayogera ebigambo byakubye nga bwe yabaga nti you know bano bw'otabaga nti gandi eat your mother something tebategeera. Naba akubye, but of course
ye argument ye kugamba already tuyina Uganda Human Rights Commission. There is commitment by government to protect human rights. Why this office? We can't renew its mandate.
Why has it taken them this long to realize that the UN Office on Human Rights in Uganda was not necessary? And why now?
No. They were supposed to renew it for the third time. They renewed it for the second time.
Yes.
Contract negwako. So they were meant to renew it and they said we are not doing it.
But should they therefore apologize to us? Can the president apologize to Uganda? Why, in the first place, they had them first time, they renewed it for the second time. Contract negwako. So they were meant to renew it for the third time. They renewed it for the second time. So they were meant to renew it and they said we are not doing it. Should they therefore apologize to us? Can the president apologize to Uganda? Why, in the first place, they had them first time, and they renewed their contract for the second time, knowing that this is the wrong thing. When did they realize that it was actually not necessary? And by the time they realized that it was not necessary, how much time have these people spent here? You need to ask those questions. Why now? That's one. Number two, I agree with President Museveni that we have enough provisions in the law on human rights. In fact, in the Constitution, I think the chapter 4 on human rights is one of the largest, if not the largest chapter.
But I wanted to answer your question
rights.
before going to that number 2, because you're asking why now. Their mandate at first, yali ya Northern Uganda, nga tukyalinayo olutalo olujjukiro lwa Joseph Kony. Then later on, I think it was expanded to Karamoja, and now they again, just recently, I think either 2017 or some other year, they expanded the mandate mugwanga lyonna. But now government is telling you, we don't have war anywhere. There is literally, generally, peace in the country, throughout the country actually. And so
human rights is an issue of wars?
That's the argument. Government is telling you there is sufficient peace now throughout the country.
Anyway, because Mr. Museveni feeds on too much information that I don't get, I do not want to debate him on that. I'll have to read it more. First of all, to understand what constituency was the UN Human Rights Office supposed to handle, and how different or similar is that constituency with the one provided for the Uganda Human Rights Commission, because these are two. Even the existence of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the UN office has always been here.
I can give you what is mandated to doing. The office is mandated to prevent human rights violations.
The UN office?
Yes. Secure respect for all human rights.
Yes.
Promote international cooperation to protect human rights.
Yes.
And streamline the UN system in the field of human rights.
That's right. Then what's the mandate of the Uganda Human Rights Commission? It is the same mandate provided for in the Constitution, save for the last one. Maybe which is helping Uganda follow or comply with the protocols it has signed on protection and promotion of human rights. But I've said it rightly that Mr. Museveni consumes the information I don't consume. I want to give him a benefit of doubt on that one. Inside my heart, I believe that there are ill motives, that they believe that these human rights officers are simply officers created, but indirectly they are used as conduits to fund opposition activities here, and maybe ennaku zino olaba nga entegera y'abantu ku ddembe ly'obuntu, bannayuganda bongedde nnyo okutegeera ebikola ebituyobola eddembe ly'obuntu bwabwe. Omusike takyasobola kubatiisatiisa, olaba ebintu bingi bivaayo, abatulugunyiziddwa bavaayo. Now maybe that increased awareness is a threat to people.
Now that happened amid, or it has been happening amidst allegations, is torture allegedly by security agencies, and should I say what appeared like the most recent victim or what torture by security, Eric Mwesigwa, eyavuddeyo nagati abye nayogera mu kusooka nali nimba wenaga security bampamba ne bantwala ne bantulugunya. It was a lie. Ekyamazima bano bennyini abanupu be bantulugunya. Twalabye abamagye omulina omwogezi w'eggye nga baparadinze omwana ono Eric Mwesigwa omusajja ono agati noono muganda wange mumulaba yabadde addako nupu etutulugunya okuvumaganya gavumenti. I don't know, and I'm very sure you followed that.
I followed.
And you've made your strong views on this.
One, Uganda has a very good law on torture. A very good one. A very, very good law. From the time the law was enacted, the Anti-Torture Act, the acts of torture by security personnel have somehow reduced, especially among the police. Because what did the law do? The law puts responsibility of torture on the perpetrators. ndisinga nsobola okugamba nti nabadde mu poliisi seero y'ekira Adamu Kungu n'antulugunya bwe ngenda mu kakiiko ka human rights ne mpaayo omusango ne bakizuula nti kituufu wantulugunya tebaga nti wali okolera ISO oba S oba CMI oba UPDF. They hold you accountable as an individual. Era bwe bakulagira okusasula ensimbi bagambye okusasula batunda ttaka lyo na njuuyo to pay me. Now from the time they brought this criminal individual responsibility for any criminality of torture, individuals wabaddewo a few changes. And I think the law is sufficient to address that. Now the issue is you identifying who has tortured you. And if you are careful and you know who, then you get these compensations. To the commission, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is also duly constituted with people who have background knowledge in the issues of human rights. So I believe that there is no problem around that area. Now, the issue of this man, Eric Mwesigwa, I don't want to call him.
I hope you don't call him what you want to call him.
Kubanga.
You don't want to call him who?
I wanted to use a word that may. Is idiot polite?
Good enough, you said you don't want to call him.
I don't want to call him.
So you say, I don't want to call him an idiot.
I don't want to call him an idiot.
Please don't call
because
him.
It is an impolite word. Kubanga omanyi waliwo bw'owuliriza emboozi. Jjajjange yabuuzanga nti bano batulabako emikira batuyita mbuzi. Noga nti abanuupu baŋŋamba bantulugunye, okay, netulugunye, tagamba kumutulugunya nti bamugamba yeetulugunye bamuwe $5,000,000. Ddala naye tebamuwanko wadde n'ekikumi.
Ne bamwokya nga bwe bamwokya bwe batyo.
Gwoba musiru muwumba tuutu kutuuka ku level kiffe wano mu Kampala tumanyi kye tuyita diiru. Diiru zaffe zisakagwirawo. Oyagala neeyokya okuvumisa gavumenti $1,500,000, yes. Teeka wana 2, bwe mala okweyokya nona 3. Oba teeka wana 3 bwe mala okweyokya nona 2. Okitegedde? Naye ono ye muwutta to the level of okuba omuwulenge nti yeeyokya bw'ati okwessaako enkobe zonna nga tafunyeeko n'ekikumi
n'ekimu.
Kati yo ne bwe babangaaga nti abanuupu be bamwokya tabanenya ye kenyini aliko obuzibu ku bwongo.
You punch holes in what he said.
Wandisoose kulyako.
This is the guy you're talking about.
Saagala kumulaba. I don't want to.
No, look at him. This is the
for
guy.
What? For what?
No, just look at the guy. Just look at the scars. The scars are there. This is the guy.
Zaaga nti yazeetuusaako nga bamuga nti zino azeetuseeko alabise gavu.
Yagamba baamukuba ebidagala.
Baani?
Taboogera. Nga towulira ne bakolako buli kika kya kikolobero nga towulira. They dump you somewhere ne bakuleka.
So bw'aba yali tawulira nga tategeera yamanya atya nti abanuupu be baamukuba ebidagala. Zizeemu ne nkubuuza nti bw'otulabako emikiro tuyita mbuzi. That we should think like we are human beings. So eno story yo yagaanye okuwera. Njagala kusaba yazannye firimu eno nti yo teggwayo agizzeeyo mangu. Yagaanye okujjula tenyonyolekeka. Teyafunako what?
You're not convinced?
Not at all. I'm even surprised, and I want to state that an army respect. Maybe they have left this katemba to be played at the NRM Secretariat at Plot 10. Not at the UPDF headquarters in Imbuya. This cannot be. We respect this army because we know its strength. I told you that statistics show that UPDF is the 5th strongest and most modern army in Africa.
True.
In Jinja here, in Ichimaka, as I talk now, there are contingents, populations of people from abroad, from other countries, abazze okusoma ku Uganda engeri gyezimbyemu eggye lyayo. Because this army, the UPDF, is near professional.
No, but
it is near international standards.
If you listen to Brigadier General Felix Klaije, omwogezi w'eggye lya Uganda, yakugambye nti guno si gwe gusoose. There have been consistent attempts, persistent attempts by political organizations like NUP to blackmail the army, you are praising here, and also to blackmail government of Uganda with what he called false allegations of torture by security agencies.
While here on this very platform, I have pleaded with Ugandans that a country must have one thing that they don't want to lose. Even when everything goes to the dogs, there must be one thing that you say, for this one, will not accept. Let me give you an example. Ugandans are now showing us that on morality, they are uncompromising. They are saying, kuchekisiya gafenna buli omu ali awo. The other thing I want them to protect is the army. And I, at all times, I have promoted and I pledge that at all times when I can, I'll promote the Ugandan army. Because when all institutions go to the dogs, when political parties become dens of thieves, when the government becomes insensitive to its own citizens, may we preserve the military, the army.
So it can remain standing.
To remain the best institutions, that when all these ones start licha n'okusiruwala, the army can take over and cause sanity, because this is what it does elsewhere. So any attempt to make the army look like I don't know, put the army in bad light is condemned by me, and I want to condemn Mr. Kulaije, my brother, that this was not necessary. It would have been done by the political commissar in the army. Okay, although it is an issue of political parties, it's political. So the political commissar of the military would have assembled this man, or they would have taken this man to the plot 10 Chadondo to say, a political party called the NOP is kutulugunya bantu baffe, because they want NRM government to look this. This cannot be done at military headquarters in Imbuya. No, never. Not our army. Not the UPDF will respect that much. It is too sad. It cannot happen.
Baba TV Hot Cup at 9 wasigadde dakiika 25 zokka okwera essaawa 5 ez'enkya y'olunaku olwaleero. Adam Kungu sa Simon Muyanga Lutaaya ffe tuliwo, weebale kubeera ng'okyali naffe yonna gy'osinzira okubeera ng'otuwuliriza n'okutulaba. Keep the conversation on our social media platforms at Baba TV ku Twitter, at Baba Television ku Facebook, oyinza n'ogenda ku personal handle zaffe. My personal handle is at Adam Kungu ku Twitter, ne at Simon Muyanga
at Muyanga Lutaaya.
Yes, at Muyanga Lutaaya ku Twitter, at Muyanga Lutaaya ku Twitter. Follow us, share and retweet whatever we are putting there. Kumikutu jonna at Muyanga Lutaaya, at Adam Kungu, at Baba TV, so we can move together and enjoy that conversation together. Well, NSSF, the pomp, the which other term can I use? Okukyamukirira okwaliwo nga parliament eri mu kunoonyereza ku nsonga za NSSF. One would say we finally came to the end. Honorable Mwine Mpaka bwe yayanjudde alipoota gye baakoze nga select committee yateekebwawo Speaker of Parliament, and they were able to make certain recommendations, and one of them bagamba nti Minister wa Gender Honorable Amongi aberenga alekulira olwa misconduct oba okweyisa mu mbeera etamusuubirwamu bwe yakkiriza okusaba bwe yasaba billions 6. Era baga nti Mwami Museveni nga president wa Uganda, the appointing authority, atule mu neeyisa conduct ya minister ono. Era ne bagamba nti baagala board ya NSSF nayo ebere disbanded kubanga nayo ebadde presiding over a lot of irregularities nebirala nga mwabigoberedde wiiki eno mu parliament. I don't know what Simon thinks about this. He's one person I know that has had very strong views. The other day yali one Honorable Sam Lyomochi, and you would see that he had a lot of interest in this matter. To begin with, just basically, are you contented as a Ugandan, but also as a server with NSSF, with the Mwine Mpaka report on the mismanagement and other irregularities in NSSF?
One, I want to thank the leadership of Parliament, I think, because I am a teacher. I love people who build others. I think the Speaker of Parliament is deliberately building the man in Mwine Mpaka. for a reason that we may know in future. But I think he has helped us know him. They are building him. They have given him critical assignments to handle, perhaps to give him an opportunity to shine and let us know that he's that strong. So he's one of those promising and upcoming young legislators. He has done a good job. I think Muchala Anita Among remembers how the Public Accounts Committee that they led, is it Kosase? It was Kosase?
With the Honorable Abdu Katuntu.
It built them. So it is also good to mentor other people. So thank you very much for mentoring Mwine Mpaka, and I hope he appreciates what you're doing and uses the opportunities given to him to become a great man. In our next government, certainly, would like the Mwine Mpakas to be part of us to execute some tasks. And I will not be surprised if one of these days Mwine Mpaka becomes a minister. After all, his father he's
still a minister.
He's still a minister. So he has done a good job. He has done a commendable job, and I think Major
Bright
Ramirama, thank you for mentoring that boy that well. He's now a man, the son. You mentored him well. If he can do what he's doing, then the training you have given him over time, up to the time he got into politics, is sufficient. Thank you, Bright Ramirama, for that wonderful boy. Umanyi kizibu nnyo kubanga abaganda bano baga nti embwa enjizzi ezaala enkole. Yaga nti abasajja abageze emirundi egisinga bazaala ebyana nga bw'olaba ekyana ne taata tebikwatagana bulungi. So at least for Bright Ramirama, your son is worth you. He can actually be better than you, and we welcome him to the arena of political progress. That said and done, the job that the probe committee did is also commendable. They did a commendable job, one, to help us to confirm that they are for the savers. My worry when they set up this committee was in a group, in a game of mafias, where money is flying. Byarugaba has some money and other key players have money. Will this committee survive? Because if you are controlling a 17.9 trillion fund, and it is actually you telling us that it's 17 trillion, it would have been 20 trillion and you remove off some and you tell us 17. Somebody is expected to have some good money that would influence the Committee of Parliament. But I think the report shows that the Committee of Parliament remained steadfast and focused on saving the savers. That's why they have exposed all the rot there. We now know. So I want to thank the speaker again, because at first it was ping pong between Igigi, so some people Byarugaba and Beta Amongi. Nobody had identified where Amongi can be put to account. They're saying, no, Amongi, so because Amongi wanted to appear right in everything, and they were saying, where do we take Amongi also to account? Not the appointing authority, because the appointing authority was conspicuously silent. So until the speaker announced this probe committee, to let all these people have a sense of fairness, to venge their issues, to quench their thirst on whatever issues they had to talk about the NSSF. So the probe committee managed to have the two warring factions in this saga come to account. The Byarugaba, Richard Byarugaba, and his board, Beta Amongi as the minister and the others. And I think they have made work even easier for my sister, Betty Kamia, because the IGIG is also investigating. So the committee did a wonderful job. It demonstrates that they were not influenced by any of these factions, because in their reports they have not spared any of the two warring factions. They have very tough recommendations against Byarugaba, they have tough recommendations against the board, they have tough recommendations against the minister, and they have also given some guidance on how the scheme should be managed in the future. So I am satisfied with the work they did, except with some of their recommendations. I think having discovered a lot of rot, the committee got emotional with either anger and wow to discover that there are people playing around with it. That's huge money in our country. And out of emotion, out of that personal feeling, they made harsh, tough.
What do you disagree with, particularly? Which particular recommendations do you think were not appropriate?
Two recommendations. One, I do not agree with the recommendation to fire Betta Mungi.
Can you look at what they said?
It is high-handed.
This is what they said. Mwa reporter yabwe batugambye nti omukyalo na resigning
Alekulire, yes.
Alekulire in public interest. Why? Because she ordered board bamuwe billion mukage za Uganda baziwe ministry jakulembera as a supervisor, well knowing nti financing eya ministry zonna mu ggwanga ziri done through appropriation. So they think she ought to resign in public interest on account of abuse of office.
I did tell you that I'm a communication expert. I've done communication from birth to now, but also gone to school to study communication. And one of the key things that you need to look at in examining in communication is to examine the meaning of each word, the latent meaning of each word. And you can examine the meaning of the word either by the way it sounds or by the way somebody pronounces it, the tone, the mode, how it comes out. Sometimes the facial expressions accompanying the word are actually carry the real meaning. Not just the word, but the facial expression, the gestures that accompany, the paraverbials that accompany the word. Now, you are saying that Amongi should resign in public interest, right?
That's what the committee is saying.
Very good. But this committee acted on a dossier by Betta Amongi. It is Amongi actually who let us know that what we thought was one of the best managing institutions in the country, NSSF, is actually at its worst. It was Betta Amongi. Now, and in refusing to renew Richard Byarugaba's contract, in bringing on all this information, in asking the Inspector General of Government to investigate, in asking the Auditor General to carry out a forensic audit of what is happening at NSSF, Betta Amongi acted in public interest. Who else was left? If she was for the board, she would have eaten with the board. If she was for Byarugaba, she would have eaten with Byarugaba. If she was for that is it. Some sections of government, maybe she would have agreed to renew Byarugaba's contract when Mr. Museveni ordered her to renew. And Nabanja, the Prime Minister, also ordered her to renew Byarugaba's contract. She took time to go and tell the President, maybe you're telling me to renew, but you may not know this. How many times has a minister in Uganda disobeyed the presidential directive?
I don't remember the last time I saw that.
You understand? So in order that she did...
Actually, you're pointing out something very critical. She disobeyed the Prime Minister,
yes,
who is her immediate supervisor.
Yes.
She also disobeyed the President, yes, when they both wrote and said, please
authority,
renew,
yes,
this gentleman's contract.
Yes.
She refused.
And that put her on the defensive to tell us, to let the public know, why does she refuse to renew Byarugaba's contract when everybody in the public believes that Byarugaba is a God-given, a God-sent angel to the NSSF. Betta Amongi refused and said there is this mess going on. The probe committee has actually proved that what she was saying was right. How then do you tell her to resign? Because in doing all this, Betta Amongi was acting in the interest of two parties. In the interest of the appointing authority
And the public.
And in the public interest, in the server's interest. You cannot tell me that among is said, requested, this is what the report says, requested for 6 billion to the Ministry of Gender to carry out specific activities. Beta Amongi did not ask for 6 billion to her personal account. Have you read the report? Nowhere is it implied that she requested for 6 billion to her personal account.
No.
It is just our evil thinking that is telling us that she had applied for this man to come to the Ministry of Gender and maybe she would abuse it from there. It's just an allegation that nobody can prove. If that was her interest, she had a different way of getting.
Even the report is clear. It's saying she ordered this money to be given to the Ministry
of Gender.
Now,
let us not be naive. This money could have come to the Ministry of Gender in this financial year. But we don't know how long Beta Amongi will start the Ministry of Gender. A reshuffle can come anytime and is thrown out. That's not her first place of placement. Beta Amongi was at Ministry of Lands. I think Beta Amongi was also at Kampala Capital State Authority. So if she requested that this money be sent to the Ministry of Gender, you cannot say it was for her interest. She could leave any time. Unlike Byarugaba, who was seeking for a 5-year term to be sure that be it what, he will be there at the NSSF. So Beta Amongi now becomes, two people come out as the best heroes in this case. One, Beta Amongi, the Minister of Gender, and Anita Among, the Speaker of Parliament. Because in Anita, the ping pong they were playing was going to take long and the story would have been lost if Anita Among, the Speaker, had not ordered for the probe committee to help these people. Now you can see that in a very short time, she gave them very strict timelines. In a very short time, we are able to confirm all of this road. So I would hold Betty Amongi and Anita Among heroes in saving the NSSF. Why are people talking about Amongi's 6 billion to the Ministry of Gender and not looking at what she wanted to do? Betty Amongi was saying, give us this money so that we can help in mobilization activities to reach out to more workers so that more workers can serve with the NSS. But otherwise, according to what we look at, there are 1.7 million people, potential savers. Out of the 1.7 million, no, there are 7 million potential savers. That's what it says. 7 million savers. Out of the 7 million savers, we only have 1.3 people saving, workers saving. Now, if from 1.3 million savers, we are NSSF is collecting 17.9 billion. That's the value. Yes. What if 7 million people were subscribing to NSSF? How much money would that be?
Huge.
It would be huge. So how do you really victimize the person?
Someone who wants to expand the...
It will be different if you say, Amongi requested for this money to carry out these activities, promising that these activities will improve collections at NSSF. The money was spent, but no results were shown.
I agree with you.
You understand?
I entirely agree with you.
I understand. So to me, I want to confirm to you that some of these recommendations were made with emotions, which is natural. Yes, which is natural. Otherwise, Betty Amongi and Anita Among, now we can also add on Mwine Mpaka, but Anita Among, who initiated the probe committee, are the heroes in saving the savers in this saga. And whoever is saying that Beta Amongi should resign is working for the mafia.
Oh, he doesn't know probably that this money was meant to expand the fund.
Because in the report,
that's their basis. They are simply telling you that this lady should actually resign because she requested for the money to the ministry. They are not answering what was this money for.
Very good. So it is like telling me you criminalize a speaker of parliament for asking government for a budget to buy MP's cars. Would you criminalize her for that? It's not her money. It's for the others.
Yes.
So Betty Amongi, unlike Byarugaba, for Richard Byarugaba they said there is 1.8 billion that Richard Byarugaba went to individual board members and said, Okalaba Kano, bwe muyisamu ekisanja kyange, if you renew my contract,
kano kamwe,
this 250 million is yours. And the board members testify that yes, indeed, he told us. Now, it is clearly shown that Byarugaba wanted individuals to benefit from this money.
yeah.
In Bet Amongi's case, it is different. They have not shown anywhere where she requested for personal money, Muzino. And even the 1.8 billion would have been given out to have Byarugaba's contract renewed. It is Bet Amongi who resisted that the money was not spent, and so Byarugaba's contract has not been renewed. It would be unfair for anyone to call for her resignation. For now, I celebrate Bet Amongi, I celebrate Anita Among for coming out, to carry out real, vivid, concrete actions to save the savers' money at the NSSF.
As Sir Simon celebrates those people, those individuals, I also celebrate you, our viewers, the viewers of Gangamuka. You've really made us big. You've made us whatever we are today. Please keep watching us. Keep telling friends, relatives, and everybody about Gangamuka. You've supported us. You've watched us. You've guided us. You've commented. You've given us feedback. Please keep it up. Facebook ne walala bagambe nti program singa kubeya abanyu kumacha Gangamuka sawa 12 mpaka sawa 5 mande okutusa olwokutano mu Uganda by the twawamba morning shows in the morning on TV,
which is okay. But don't forget that as we wind up this week to go to a new week, 2 requests have remained on table. One, Lukia Subo Mpoza, one of our own, has requested to meet Major General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. She wants Kainerugaba to come and explore Gangamuka. We want to let the general know that
the Gangamuka in quotes or this Gangamuka?
We have assigned Lukia to come and help you explore Gangamuka. Please take the opportunity. And then lastly, I have requested, and I continue to request, I know Mr. Museveni is back in the country. I want to be appointed Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. Mr. Museveni bangambye wakomyewo ogenze simanyi lwaki oli mu kutambula president ebyo nabiveeko mangu nga tonatambula nagenda kutambula bitundu birala mpo omulimu gwa prime minister nkuyambe tereze wali gwanga ogenda kutambula weba kootulo onyo obusera bulungi oli akaloko mu ddembe nga nze nzirukanye ekintu kya prime minister njagala bwa prime minister nga tumalako wiiki eno bwe siifuna essimu yo ebumpa ne instrument ne wiki eranja kubusaba. Simon Muyanga Lutaaya, Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda.
Kale tuddemu nga tuzemu yambo.
This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya. Obairo likubona Gangamuka ku Baba TV.